Before the council today says otherwise. All you have to read it. It's in plain black and white. We have a problem in West Hollywood now with the nebulous nature of the cannabis clubs. We have problems with traffic and robberies spilling over into the neighborhoods. We've got cannabis clubs that are 100 feet from nursery schools, and armed robbers coming at these places. I think the city needs to take regulation of these clubs seriously, and I don't see that this resolution does that. Doesn't do anything to make these organizations more accountable or marijuana more available to the people that really need it, unless they got $80 in their pockets, and that's wrong.
Inside, you call it the Amsterdam state of West
The Amsterdamnation of West Hollywood, yeah. Amsterdam has marijuana for everybody, cafes all over. And I don't think that's what the citizens of West Hollywood want. I don't think that's what we voted for in 1996 when we adopted Proposition 215. What people want is a safe and affordable outlet so that seriously ill people with cancer and AIDS and other problems can get what they need.
So this goes a bit too far.
Yes.
How does this turn West Hollywood into the Amsterdamnation, though, exactly?
Well, we're already halfway there with 7 cannabis clubs, and I think rather from my observations and others' observations, rather dubious entrance requirements. When this issue first came up, I spoke to my fear that it was going to blow the doors off the cannabis clubs. Now, with the language that was adopted, we're going to have for-profit pot businesses in residential neighborhoods, and the problems we already have are going to be horribly compounded.
How will people be able to have for-profit cannabis sales organizations in neighborhoods if it's illegal under state and federal law to provide it to anyone for non-medical purposes?
The Los Angeles County Sheriff enforces state law in West Hollywood, and if they're not going to enforce it, there's your answer.
But they can enforce it, though, because the sale of it is illegal. So they can arrest and will arrest, according to the council, people who are selling.
That's not what they said, and that's not what the resolution says.
How do you think the Sheriff's Department will handle this now? I mean, because this is non-binding.
I have great faith in the Sheriff's Department. They have a wonderful relationship with the community. We always had a wonderful relationship with them when we were open, and I think they'll do the right thing. I trust them. I think they'll use their discretion appropriately, but I think this is bad legislation and should have been more carefully crafted.
This shouldn't be on the back of medicinal marijuana use. What do you say?
Well, we're not trying to link this onto medicinal marijuana use. Medicinal marijuana stands on its own 2 legs. Under California state law, we have a proposition in place. We have entire sections of the Health and Safety Code which cover medicinal marijuana. So that's an issue that I consider to be separate and apart. What we're talking about is allocating police resources in a small community like West Hollywood and where we want to prioritize those dollars.
And is there a way this could backfire and it could be promoting your goals?
I don't think so. I think that I'm just have a real conversation. Realistically, we have multiple generations now that have experimented with marijuana, and reefer madness. Well, this is going to be a gateway drug to more serious drugs is often the argument. Well, I would say so is alcohol, potentially. And people also have a lapsing judgment when they use alcohol. So what do? We highly regulate alcohol through the ABC. We should also be regulating marijuana because I don't really see much of a distinction between the two. Except that marijuana, we're relying on presumptions that were made in the 1950s that are really failing. They're all a fallacy. So let's have a real discussion.
Very good. Thank you.
Are you confident that the Sheriff's Department will respond in the manner that you're intending?
I assume so.
Could you make a brief comment about the contradiction between...
Who are you with, sir?
I'm with... who am I with?
Because...
I'm with Online Broadcasting Service Politics. It's a website, and I'm glad to give you my card. And
no, I believe it. Just wonder who you're with.
Right, sure. Talk about the contradiction between City of West Hollywood deprioritizing police action, sheriff action against possession of small amounts of marijuana. Is there a definition of what a small amount is within the legislation or in your own mind?
No.
Okay.
No, because that's always left to a deputy's discretion.
Okay.
That's the current law, continues to remain the current law.
What about the paradox between the fact that it's legal, well, it still isn't legal under state law or federal law to possess or use marijuana, but now the City of West Hollywood has instructed the sheriff not to prioritize those offenses. Where are people? Where are you expecting people?
There's precedent for that. During the AIDS crisis with needle sharing, it's still against the law to possess a syringe without a doctor's prescription. Yet cities and communities, including the city of Los Angeles, passed ordinances that allowed them to sidestep state law because of medical emergencies.
And you believe the same precedent will allow the individuals to sidestep the enforcement of state and federal law in this case?
Well, not sidestep because it's not being sidestepped or circumvented per se. The state law is still on the books. We're just saying we don't want to prioritize marijuana. Now, I have to get back on the council dais. I'm very sorry.
Are you actively attempting to change the state laws and the federal laws regarding the possession of marijuana?
Yes, of course.
And what would you like to see that policy be?
I would like to see marijuana treated just like alcohol. It's
at
no
the
different
federal
in
and state
mind.
levels?
Yeah, in the state level. States regulate alcohol, and the federal government does alcohol, firearms, and tobacco.
So you'd like to see the federal government out of the marijuana enforcement business and the state regulating it the way it does alcohol?
Well, no, I mean, there's still some regulation the federal government does with serious narcotics, including heroin and morphine. They regulate physician licenses.
Right, but in terms of marijuana, you don't want the federal government to have any role, is that right?
No, that's not right.
What role would you like the federal government to have?
Because a physician, as I said, a physician still writes a prescription. That's under federal law. Marijuana for medicinal purposes would be covered under federal law.
I'm talking about decriminalization at the state or federal level. What would you like to? What's your ideal policy?
As I stated, moving marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2 or 3, so that it's a regulated drug.
And is there any pending legislation that you're involved with at the state level to decriminalize marijuana?
No, not at this time.
Would you like to see that?
Sure, it would be ideal.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you.